Welcome back, guys. I read the worst dating post on Reddit, so you don't have to. And I think we're going to learn a lot from this episode because, first of all, you're going to see what the typical guy who's struggling is doing to get better, which is turning to Reddit, which we all know is a smorgasbord of BS and just a waste of time. So the fact that you're listening to this podcast in the first place or watching is credit to you, and you're going to do way better than these guys. And you're also going to notice just the zeitgeist and how guys think about approaching their dating life and just the nonsense that's out there and what you can do to be way better than the competition. So let's dive in.
You're listening to the Inner Confidence Podcast. My name is Robbie Kramer. I've been a coach since 2007, and I've helped countless men rapidly achieve all of their social and dating goals. My mission is simple: to help you position yourself to meet stunning women, make awesome friends, en route to becoming the most confident and attractive version you can possibly be. I'm absolutely obsessed with giving you the most leveraged ways possible to win the game, so stick around, let's go.
The first post, I'm going to share my screen here. DAE, massively overthink texting when getting to know someone? Basically what the title says, I can't stand it. I dither about it. If I sound like I'm making too much effort, too little timings, if I'm saying enough to carry the convo, much prefer just talking in person. Any advice? Of course you prefer talking in person. Everyone prefers talking in person. Texting is clunky and texting is a little bit annoying. But if I'm a beautiful woman and I'm trying to decide if this guy's worth my time, I'm going to decide that over text. I'm not just going to agree to a date with everybody. So sorry, it's easier to do it in person, but you're not going to get that shot. So thinking that you can just be a bad texter, that's a great way to never get any dates. So what you want to do in this situation is you want a short and quick opener. Typically some callback humor, right? If I met a girl in a bar, I would follow up with some callback humor about what we talked about. If I couldn't think of anything, I'd literally say something like, hey, fun chatting last night. I don't remember everything about our conversation, but I do remember you and me sharing a love for fluffy dogs. Your birthday is somewhere between January and December. And yeah, the rest I can't remember either. Robbie, the slightly boring guy who you spoke to last night. So that's one example. I've got other examples in my texting guide, but it's something to remind her that you're fun. And that first text, even if it's something even super lame, like, hey, fun chatting last night, Robbie, if she likes you, she's going to respond. If she doesn't, she won't. So there's no reason to obsess over that first text, right? Like, and then how long to wait. And like, none of that stuff really matters a whole lot. Like what matters is once she responds and you mirror her investment, right? Like if you send a text and she responds and you write her a novel, that's not going to be very good. So the key lesson here, the overthinking is a problem. Like she doesn't feel the words, she feels the energy behind them. And she's going to remember that vibe from when you met. So just try to get the words in your text to match the vibe of when you met. Because obviously she gave you her number. She probably likes you. So be normal, be cool, joke around a little bit if you can. You know, you could even ask ChatGPT for some of this stuff. The answers it gives aren't great for texts, but if you then workshop those texts with some friends, if you have any, that would be a lot easier. In the IC community, what we do to troubleshoot this is guys can just say, they can create a thread being like, I met this girl, here's the context, what should I text her? And of course, I'm going to make them text or check the texting guide first for examples. And if they can't think of anything, then we can step in and help them. But yeah, just don't overthink it so much. All right. The next one, NGVC. What the hell does that mean? I've had a checklist of things I want in a wife. So first of all, if you're posting on Reddit and using these sorts of things, good luck. You probably aren't the type of guy who's going to do very well. Just for starters, that would be extremely dorky, jargony behavior. Now, hey, maybe that's normal on Reddit and I'm out of base here. But anyways, let's get into this post. Finally at the place in my life where I'm ready to settle down and not even one prospect, not even a female friend. I can do stuff with. I don't want to date just to date someone. I've done that in the past, and it hurts when they are not ready to make a commitment. I want to enjoy my wife with it being just me and her for a little while. Feels like life passed me by a long time ago because I was seen as too nice or too this or too that. Guys, when all you get is rejection in your 20s, this is what happens. You stop asking and start living life on your own terms. And then one day you wake up and you're 40 years old. Then you wonder where my family is. Where is my wife? And what about children? I never wanted to be an old dad. But unfortunately, when opportunity isn't given to you because you're either planted in the wrong place or don't get looked at, and that's sorted away by the opposite gender, it's very hard to find someone to love. I've had a checklist of things I want in a wife, and now that list has shrunk to 7 basic things. 1, be a mature, God-fearing Christian woman of prayer and discernment. I lack discernment and need somebody's help with that. 2, be able to sing, but only want to use your gift in the house of the Lord. 3, be happy with and where you are in life. 4, take care of your temple. Eat right, work out, walk, and do something that helps take care of your body. 5, get along with me. Don't be argumentative or feel you have the leadership or control in this house. 6, be mentally stable and mature. Act your age. 7, intelligent enough to have a good, healthy conversation. So one thing I've noticed with people who really have no options and struggle to get any dates at all, they usually have these long, ridiculous checklists. And this person doesn't think his checklist is ridiculous, which is one of the most ridiculous things I've ever seen. He hasn't approached anyone in years. He's 40, and he's very particular about this potential wife's singing voice. Oh my God. So she must sing, but only in church. Bro, like what planet are you even on? He stopped putting himself out there after rejection in his 20s, and he called that living on his own terms. And that's not what that is. That's just a fear of going after what you want in life. This is what happens when rejection wins and a man quietly gives up on himself. The key lesson here is, this is just avoidance dressed up as standards. The checklist isn't the problem. The 40 years of not trying, that's the problem. This guy just needs a completely new approach to the entire thing, right? And posting in Reddit ain't the way, my friend. So let's go on to number 3. I keep getting friendzoned and it really bothers me. Please help. So this is a pretty long one. I'll leave that up there for a second. So you could pause the video and read it if you like. All right, if you've paused, great. Let's dissect this one. 23 girls, 6 years, never made a move. And he thinks his height is the problem. So, only using dating apps. He's never had a relationship. He did go out with 23 girls. And he tells a full detailed story about one date that went well. She wanted to hang out again, but just as friends, he deleted her number and walked away. Buddy. Oh my God. So, just because she says she wants to be friends, if she's genuine about hanging out with you again, which it looked like she was in the Reddit post, that's just her way of saying like, bro, slow down. Let's just take this slow. And yeah, probably we'll hook up at some point if you can not be so overt about it. Remember, women don't like to communicate overtly, especially about dating and attraction and their feelings. It's your job to read between the lines. If you make them speak overtly, you now make them responsible for sex, and they feel like slut shamed, and that just doesn't work. So you should have just hung out with her as friends, and eventually you probably would have hooked up, or you would have met one of her friends and hooked up with her. But nope, your mindset is no good, so that's not going to work. For anyone who's blaming their height, like if you got a date with that girl and you're saying the height was a problem, you're just looking for an excuse to be the victim, basically. And it really is kind of height's the go-to excuse that lets men avoid taking ownership because they play that victim role. You're not getting friend zoned because of your height. You're getting friend zoned because you're not doing a very good job of creating romance, of flirting, escalating, doing the things that take you from friend zone to not friend zone, like going for the kiss, knowing how to read her signals to see when and how to do that, knowing how to set up a date to make that happen naturally. I have a paint by numbers system. It's called the dating protocol. It's the easiest thing I've ever seen for helping a guy create and structure a date that leads to physical escalation, kissing, and hopefully more. If you don't have it, get it, download it. It's free. The link will be in the description. And stop winging it. It's just dumb. Like, this works really well. So don't do what you're doing. And this girl in the story, she actually texted him twice after he left, and he never noticed. All right, let's go on to post number 4. So my confidence as a man after dating is pretty shot. I was dating this girl for 8 months. Not so long, I know, but I really liked her. She was stunningly beautiful and my type. She was funny. She was supportive and communicated very well, or so I thought. We were talking long-term plans together. So far, this guy's writing style and tone, he actually comes across as a fairly intelligent, maybe interesting, cool guy. Let's see. At about the 6-month mark, something radically changed. We had our first bigger argument. Never since then, she would do nothing but tear me down, criticizing my clothing, my job, comparing me to her ex, anything she could think of. She'd just throw a little comment in there to make it sting. And maybe I'm supposed to be invincible or something, but I'll admit that it hurt. I really like this girl, and to watch it deteriorate so quickly really stunned me. The last thing she said to me was, "My friends say I can do better," and I agree. And yeah, that has really stuck with me over the last year or so since we broke up. Now I find myself constantly looking down on myself, comparing myself to men on Instagram who seem to have more or a better life, wondering why can't that be me? Even if I worked as hard as I can, I'd probably never realistically get to that place. It's just been a crappy feeling. I know I shouldn't compare myself or let this girl win over my mind like that, but I'll admit it's hard. I'm not sure how to overcome it. All right, I feel bad for this guy. And I see this actually constantly in the work that I do with my clients in the IC community. And that's women testing men. Women test men, men should test women too. And one of the ways that women test is by criticizing and poking and seeing if they can kind of get under your skin. Don't listen to the words. Watch what they do, right? So he's literally describing a situation where he's with his girlfriend and they're, as far as I can tell, they're hooking up, they're having sex, but she's nitpicking him, which, hey, that's going to happen in every relationship. The point is she's having sex with you. She's your girlfriend. She hasn't broken up with you. So just ignore the little nitpicks. Just say, okay, thanks for the feedback. And don't let it affect you. And if she realizes it's not going to, rock your world and you're not going to get all down on yourself, it's not going to kill your confidence, still stop doing it, right? Keep in mind, she is dating you. She is sleeping with you. She's your girlfriend. So watch what they do, not what they say. That is the number one commandment in the community. Watch what they do, not what they say. Well, I'm not going to get into whether this girl is great or not. Obviously, she kind of sucks. She's comparing him to her ex. That's a really kind of rude thing to do. That's a red flag. So the fact that he's no longer dating this girl, that's probably a good thing. You should count your lucky stars that you got out of this relationship. The worst thing you can do is compare yourself to other guys on Instagram, because of course you're going to find guys that you think are better than you, right? If you're looking for that, you're always going to find it. There's always somebody better than you at a thing, or there's always someone taller or more rich or more handsome or blah, blah, blah. But don't play that game. They say comparison is the thief of joy. Again, it's just a test. She's just testing you to see if you're going to get triggered by this and to see if it matters, and it shouldn't, right? I'd say the key lesson is one person's cruelty is not a verdict of your worth. The danger isn't what she said. It's that he handed the power to her and he let her define him, right? And then he started playing the comparison game. So ask yourself, for you guys listening, how many of you are carrying something a woman said as the truth about you? She said it. Does it make it true? Think about that. All right. I feel bad for that guy. He could use some coaching. Next one. All right. Men on Reddit. Is it true you're less likely to approach a woman who is beautiful? Why or why not? I've seen a lot of girls who are so pretty say they never get approached. I myself don't get approached, but I don't think I'm beautiful. It is absolutely, definitely a thing that the hotter girls don't get approached as much. Now, we have to separate being approached from being catcalled or giving sexual attention, right? The hotter girl you are, the more attention you're going to get. And you're going to get very good at seeing that attention. Your spidey senses are going to be heightened because of pattern recognition. And you're going to see that all over the place. You're going to see guys looking at you. And that's usually what it's going to be. Just guys staring, the occasional guy driving by and yelling something, the trope of the construction worker yelling as you walk by, all those things. But those aren't approaches. I would just call that catcalling or attention. The girl who's truly beautiful, she's not going to get approached very often because she's too intimidating. And guys absolutely will only approach a girl that they think they have a chance with, unless they're trained by me, of course, or other dating coaches. And then you realize you actually have a better chance approaching a girl who's really beautiful because she gets hit on less, and she gets hit on very poorly when she does get hit on. As I just mentioned, it's not truly being hit on. So just a very authentic sort of approach will work really well. Just like, hey, I saw you and I had to risk potentially embarrassing the hell out of myself to come meet you. I'm Robbie. That can work fantastic. Or, hey, not to be that guy that hits on you in the grocery store, but, I got to be that guy. This woman is genuinely confused why attractive men won't approach her. Now, it might be something about her not giving enough signals or whatnot. Like if you're a woman and you want more guys to approach you, look at them, smile at them, do your best to make yourself look approachable. But it's going to come down to that guy, whether or not he has the balls to do it. And most guys don't. They're too afraid. And the male comments confirmed it. Hundreds of men openly admitting they pre-reject themselves before even saying a word. They're just like, okay, she's going to reject me. She's out of my league. I'm not going to do it. And women are noticing that now. So have you ever not approached because you already decided the answer was no? Probably. Don't do that anymore. So remember, the leagues don't exist. If you watched my recent podcast where I told a story about this girl named Nico, I approached her and I felt like I had nothing to lose, and it worked. I got the date. It didn't matter that she was, in my mind, a 10 out of 10, and I probably thought myself of about a 6.5 out of 10 back at the time, but it's like, whatever. I understood that just because a girl is hot, it doesn't mean she's going to be less receptive. It probably means she's going to be more receptive because less guys have the balls to actually do it. In summation, from all 5 of these posts, we see some commonalities, and every single guy here lost before anything even started, right? None of these guys, well, except for the guy who who had the relationship and he let what she said kind of tear that down. But by overthinking, avoiding, waiting, or not even trying, those were typically the mistakes that we see. So the one thing you can do to not do any of the things is you can take action, you can get feedback on that action, and you can surround yourself with brothers who will help you navigate this journey so you don't have to post on Reddit and get answers from idiots who know nothing and who are not qualified to give you answers. So if you're listening to this and you're spending time on Reddit asking for dating advice, please stop. Just send me a message on Instagram. I'll respond for the love of God. And if you want to take it a step further, check out my community and we can help you move through all these problems. All right, guys, until next week, peace out.
Out of all the guys I know, the only ones who managed to consistently win the game are those who built and invested in a high-status social circle. You can certainly approach women and try your luck on the apps if you're a Chad, but those strategies simply don't work consistently to attract top-tier women and awesome friends into your life. But for most guys, the idea of building a social circle can feel overwhelming, so they continue to hunt for women in their usual ways and end up settling for a girl they were never really that excited about in the first place. To avoid this fate, join our community and instantly plug into a highly vetted social circle of cool dudes to network and navigate your journey with. You already know it's hard to find wingmen because the good ones don't stay in the game very long. Many of our members travel together, end up living together, build amazing circles, and even businesses together, both in the West and in many of the best locations around the globe with gorgeous women and low cost of living. I'm extremely careful who I let into this community, but if you feel like you'd make a good fit, you can apply to join. The link's in the description.